Episode 6.
Are you ready to take your eBay business to the top? Well, if so, buckle up and hold on. It's time once again for So You Want to Sell on eBay with your hosts, Ron LeBeau and Ali Young.
Creating an eBay store these days is not that difficult a task. Creating a custom eBay store is. So if you're thinking of starting an eBay business, or even if you're a titanium power seller, let the professional team at AuctionProTemplates.com create a custom eBay store for you.
Welcome once again to another episode of So You Want to Sell on eBay. I'm Ron LeBeau.
And I'm Ali Young.
I can't wait to introduce to you our new guest today, and Rachel Rofe comes to us live from New York City. Thank you very much for joining us, Rachel.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's fantastic having you with us today, Rachel.
It's going to be fun.
Rachel Rofe is a multiple best-selling author that's been featured in Entrepreneur, Woman's World, and Fox News. Since she began internet marketing in 2006, she's developed over 30 products, 40 Kindle books, and bought and sold companies with as many as 120 employees. She speaks nationwide about copywriting, book creation, outsourcing, and product creation. And her favorite part? She does all this while living the internet lifestyle, traveling the world, and having fun.
Wow.
Rachel, we've talked a little bit about your profile here, but please tell us a little bit more about you.
Sure. You covered a lot of it, but basically, like you said, I just like to go and create a lifestyle business where I'm able to do stuff on the internet, but then also just go through and travel a lot. So we're actually, we just bought another house. We're moving to Las Vegas sometime this week. We haven't figured out yet when.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're going there and just have a bunch of different trips scheduled, and I just really enjoy having a mobile business. And so I have a bunch of different information products that I sell, and just a podcast, and sell lots of different books on Kindle, and just really set everything up to create as much passive income as possible.
Yeah, it sounds like a terrible life.
It's horrible.
You're traveling the world and doing, by the sounds of it, what you want to do.
Yeah, I feel very fortunate.
So do you write your books and stuff while traveling, or do you sort of stay in base one place, write your books, and then travel, or?
The funny thing is, now I probably have about 50 books, and up until last month, I hadn't written any of them. And so, I get them all either outsourced or all different types of ways to get books created. So sometimes it's just hiring a ghostwriter, which is someone that you guys might know, but for those listening, basically you can hire somebody to write a book for you. A lot of New York Times bestselling authors do this, and then they get the credit, like the person who hires a ghostwriter gets the credit for writing the book. So yep. I have actually, most of my books are under pen names. So if you did a search for my name, you'd only see my one book right now. I have another couple ones coming out, but other ways that I get books created are just people submitting content or interviewing people, just all kinds of different things.
You're putting the information together, though. Is that correct? You're writing down what you want to be in this, and then you just pass it on to someone, or are they just doing all the writing?
It depends. So for a while, I just had everything systemized, and I didn't actually even know what all my different niches were because my assistant was handling a bunch of it. But basically, I just go onto Amazon, and there's so much information there. It'll tell you what the best-selling categories are for different books and what the best-selling books are. And so you can go and see what's trending, and then from there, decide what to write. And so I like to do it in a way where it's really no trying to reinvent the wheel or anything. So basically, we'll go through, we find the bestsellers, we find the best-selling titles, we'll find out what the themes are in those titles, the words that are appearing in all the different titles for specific categories, and then we'll just go through, and when we're outlining the book, we'll just go through, again, the books that are already selling well, look at their outlines, and then look at the reviews for those books and see what customers wanted more of, what they wanted less of, and then any ideas we have on our own, and then we'll create the outline that way. So it's just very much serving people what they're already raising their hands and saying that they want.
Oh, that's incredible, Rachel. That's a good idea. And I know you mentioned the New York bestsellers. What's really interesting about that is a lot of people don't really know that, but a lot of the bestsellers on the New York bestsellers list are created by ghostwriters. And again, the author or the person that's going to pay them to write them are the ones that get the credit.
Yeah, I just read an article, actually, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, but one of the Sweet Valley High ghostwriters, I don't know if you guys know that series, but when I was younger, that was Babysitter's Club and Sweet Valley High, amazing. And one of the ghostwriters from Sweet Valley High came forward, and she said that basically the author, I think it was Francine Pascal, she would write like here's a very brief description of what I want this book to be about. And she had a team of different ghostwriters, and so they would all get different plots, and then they would write the books and send them in, and that's how they were able to churn out the book so much. And she didn't write anything.
That's amazing.
Wow.
And, you know, the other thing that's neat about it is you're actually open about it, right? So you're not hiding behind your pen name. So you're telling everyone here that, you know, obviously it's just a way to bring in income, right? So you can actually have a ghostwriter and you give them a topic and whatever, and they create the book in your name.
Yeah. So right now, most of my books are under pen names. I tell some of them, but I found when I had books under my name, for a while when I was getting into niches and stuff, I was finding that students would find my books and then they would go into the same niches and then start like leaving negative reviews and stuff on mine so they could bump up theirs.
Well, I have to apologize. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
Ron. So let's ask you a question. We always like to ask on this show because I find it quite I like this part myself, and it's about someone who's made an impact on you, someone in your life who sort of helped you get to where you are, or someone who's given you advice and supported you. You know, we like to find out who that person is in your life and how much they helped you.
Yeah, I have a few people like that, but the first person that comes to mind is actually my boyfriend. He does internet marketing as well. He does a lot of Facebook stuff, and he just is awesome. Like, he's such an inspiration for me because he works really hard, and which I really love, but also he's just very, like, he doesn't take his customers for granted. So a lot of times, like, people will assume that their customers, like, don't know things, or they'll try to get one over, or like do marketing-y kind of like cheap things, I feel like. And he just has such integrity with his list and just respects his list so much and everything. And it's just, in the world of internet marketing, that's not always the case. And I just feel like he's such a good beacon of light, really. And I've been doing some coaching calls, and people have been telling me that anytime he recommends something, like, they know that he only recommends it if he actually uses it himself, and they just fall over themselves buying anything he offers because they just trust him so much.
I was just going to say, you know, he's going to be listening to this podcast here, so he'll probably be washing your car for, I don't know, a week or two now after those comments. That's amazing.
He's so amazing. You know, we just had dinner, and he went and he cleared out the table. He had 2 candles going and flowers, washed all the dishes afterwards. It's amazing.
Wow, geez.
Yeah.
You're going to have to stop that. Quit doing that.
Should we edit that part out?
Yeah, we'll have to edit that out. I mean, you're going to have every man in the country here, you know, clearing the table and doing dishes, right?
That's a great thing. Bring it on.
But it's really good to actually see that honesty because, you know, I don't imagine, but there are people out there who take those lists for granted, and their main sole purpose is just to make money. And it's really nice to hear that there's people out there that care about it and only recommend something if they really believe in it. You know, it's nice.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's great.
Well, cool. Let's turn a little bit here, Rachel, and let's just talk about a failure. You know, we have listeners they're listening to us now, and a lot of them are in a position here, and I know you have sold on eBay, and you could probably talk about eBay, but they are in a position where they're either starting an eBay business or maybe they're struggling with an eBay business. So, you know, failure is never probably anything fun to talk about, but it's something we want our listeners to hear, that people that are successful like you, I mean, you're a best-selling author and all the credentials we gave you at the beginning, but they need to know that there probably was a failure or two that you came across during your journey of your entrepreneurialism. And, you know, can you tell us about a failure and what you did to kind of overcome that?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple things that come to mind. One of the first ones is when I first started full-time internet marketing. That was back in 2006. And I had started actually promoting this. So I was doing eBay actually even before then. I was a power seller and I was doing all this stuff. But when I went full-time, I was just promoting this. It was like an ebook. And I was doing really, really well with it. I was making from like $500 to $800 a day. The very first day I did it, and then for months it was going amazingly. And I mean, I was spamming Craigslist, so it's not something I'm proud of now, and it's not obviously sustainable, but it's what I was doing like 8 years ago. Right. And I was making so much money, but then I got on these internet marketing lists, And I just kept on hearing about all these new ways. So even though I'm making $500 to $800 a day with this thing, like I'm hearing about, you could be making, hundreds of thousands with AdSense or with MySpace ads or blah, 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 all these different things. And I started following those things. And instead of working on what was already making me money, I went to all these bright, shiny objects, and my income just ended up tanking. So,
wow.
And then, yeah, so it was just, that's one of the things that I teach people a lot now is if you chase two rabbits, both will escape.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I think, and that's probably one of the reasons why I'm so obsessed with focus now.
So you turned it around. So it had a failure and it sort of became a success in some way.
Yeah. So you asked how I changed it around. So now I'm really hyper vigilant about making sure that I'm, like whatever I'm doing, it has a reason. So one of the things that I like to talk to people about is just when you set your goals. So I like to create my goals and I incorporate how I want to feel into the goals and all this different stuff. We can get into that if you want, but the main thing is I set the goals up. And then, so let's say I know where I want to be a year out, then I'll break it down to how I can get those goals done in monthly action steps. So like what are the things that will need to be happen? And then I'll break the monthly goals into weekly goals and then daily to-do lists. And so once I'm able to break everything down so much, it's like I have a very crystal clear vision of where I'm going. And this way, when side offers come to me and people are asking, like maybe this opportunity or this opportunity, I can say, this yes or no, depending on if it's going to further where I'm actually wanting to be. So it's helpful.
That's very impressive. So you're actually seeing the final goal and then working your way back from there.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you recommend? I mean, sometimes that could be a really hard thing, you sort of have an idea in your brain, I want to do this, but you can't see the final goal. I mean, how do you see the final goal and then bring it back from there?
Well, I think there's a few things that you have to take into consideration. So one of the things is a lot of us, we create goals because we want to feel a certain way. So like maybe we want $1 million business because we want to feel security or we want to feel respect from other people, whatever it is. So I think the first thing is just to get really clear on however you want to feel and then create goals that are in line with those feelings so that you're emotionally compelled to actually to meet those goals. So if you don't know what your goals are yet, just figure out how you want to feel and then create goals around those things that would motivate you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's really a great way of looking at it.
Yeah, it makes great sense, Rachel.
Awesome. Yeah, so that would be it. Or, I mean, a lot of people might, like maybe, you want to be making X amount of money per month or something. Well, by this time next year, then you just break down what it's going to take to get that. Actually, the book that I just wrote, the only one that I've written, that's the one that I wrote about. It's all about goal setting. But yeah, so it's just basically whatever you want to reach, break it down. So the example that I give in the book is, let's say you want to be making $5,000 a month by this time next year. So then you break it down. What's it going to take to make that happen? So first you think about, well, what are all the ways that I can do that? In your case, it might be eBay. So then you think, well, what are some things that I can sell? And then you just chart out, like maybe month one, it's contacting suppliers or doing whatever it's going to take and just like reverse engineer it all. And if you give yourself some time to play around, so let's say like you go and you do something and then you have measurable checkpoints. So if you're planning on making $1,000 after month 2 and you haven't, then you can play around and course correct. But you're always kind of working towards that same endpoint.
I'm sitting here writing as fast as I can, Rachel. I want to be rich, man. So that's great. So I'm just envisioning you have goals in your personal life and goals in your business life, right? Because I think when people become goal oriented and they see the value in setting goals, long term and near term goals, it kind of becomes an easy thing to do to kind of segue into a business set of goals and a personal set of goals. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And how do you manage the time? Because this is always the question that we get asked, and myself, I actually struggle at this one. It's you got all these projects, you got these goals in front of you. How do you know, okay, I'm going to invest this amount of time on this project? I mean, how do you keep everything running smoothly?
Well, I think that's one of the good things about having your clear goals is because you're not going to then have random projects. You're going to have everything's going to further your mission. So that right away will help shave off a lot of time. But then just when you're doing your daily to-do lists, I like to do, first of all, like 3 to 5 things a day. And Parkinson's law is I forget exactly what the quote is, but basically you're always going to get done the amount of time that you have for something. So if you schedule out, like I know for me, 7 to 12 is my peak time when I'm just my brain is super on. And so that's when I schedule my time. And then I'll give myself like time. So I have everything on my to-do list and I'll say like, get this done by 8, get this done by 8:30, get this done by 9. And so I have times allotted for things and that really helps get stuff done. And if you just do if you have 3 to 5 things every day that you feel really proud of if you got done, starting with the hardest thing first while you have the most brain power, it's amazing to see, because the thing is, a lot of us, we get started and then we're looking at Facebook or email and we're getting derailed. Yeah. And email, I mean, one of the favorite things I've ever heard, Tim Ferriss said, email is everyone else's agenda for you. And so you just get your agenda figured out first. And the other thing is it's really helpful to write your daily to-do list the night before so that your subconscious can start working on it. And so if you just know 3 to 5 things you can get done in that time period, and you just cross it off, and accountability is really helpful. I mean, there's so many different things you can do to make sure that you get your stuff done. But even if you could just do 3 to 5 things every day, that's more than most people, because a lot of us will get on the computer and at the end of the day, we've been online all day, but we have nothing tangible to say that we've actually done because we've let Facebook and everything else just dictate our day.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? I mean, you can get on Facebook and next thing is 4 hours later. It's like, wow, what have I been doing? So, wasting my time on that stuff. So, okay, well, let's turn it then. We've heard of a failure, and actually we've probably heard of some successes along the way there as well. But do you have a particular success story, something that sort of told you that what you're doing is the right thing to be doing?
Yeah, so I guess this will quickly tell you about the other failure that came up in my mind because it really, amplifies the success. But another failure for me had just been, I haven't had, major spectacular failures, but one thing was I was doing a lot of internet marketing for a long time, and while I enjoyed it, there was just part of it that felt kind of icky to me. Just that whole internet marketing world can feel kind of icky.
Yep.
And I just felt like I'm good at it, and I created products and stuff, and I still like it, but I would always just get this little whisper every single time I would send an email or anything, just I don't, this might not be 100% for you. Yeah. And so I've slowly started to change my focus, and I have this new podcast that I've created and the new books, and I have an event coming up November 8th and a Facebook group and all this stuff around a better life. And the premise of a better life is if you have a choice, choose a better life. And so if you have a choice being, you're not in some third world country or situation where you can't really, you really don't have a choice, but most of us have choices. Yep. And so anyway, this has been something I've been dreaming about for a long time, and just last week I published the first book in the series, and it was going amazingly. It ended up hitting number 83 on all of Amazon, which is just ridiculous.
Oh, that's brilliant. Wow.
Oh my gosh. And then the next day I launched my podcast, and it was number 28 in all of the United States. Yeah, so the same 24 hours going with the new theme that I feel like is just what I'm here to give to the world. I get boom, boom, the book, and then the podcast success is just insane, and it just made me feel like I'm so on the right path, and it feels awesome.
It is. You can tell that you're actually on that path. You can tell you're sort of guided along the way. So how do you get past the fear, though? I mean, you got a lot of stuff happening there that could bring up this fear barrier, I call it, where, I'm going beyond my comfort zone here. How do you get beyond that?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think one of the biggest things that I've learned is that just speaking your fear, speaking if you're ashamed about something, scared, whatever, just being able to speak it to people that you trust is really important. And so I have a mastermind that I'm in, and I was okay with the book because I felt really confident. I hired an editor to go through and check it out and make sure that everything was good and there were no points that I forgot about. So I felt better about that. But the podcast is and I've had lots of books, but the podcast is brand new territory. And so I just sent an email out to my friends in my mastermind. I was like, guys, I'm feeling scared, and I was a little nervous about the book, but nothing like this. I don't even know. Maybe my intuition's telling me I shouldn't do this. And then they just were like, cool, just play, see what happens. But just as soon as you're able to just speak that stuff that's just tearing you up, there's so much freedom that you just get so much psychic energy just released.
Yeah. Awesome. That's awesome, Rachel. And I can tell you, just just from the little bit I know of you, your personality is going to shine in your podcast, and you're going to do wonderful with podcasting. So congrats on all the accomplishments you've made and on your new book as well. Certainly appreciate that. But now I'm a little bit nervous because, see, I knew you were a celebrity, but I didn't really know you were that much of a celebrity. And you've kind of turned it up on me here, and I'm getting nervous now. So.
Oh, please.
That's great. That's great. So tell us a little bit about your current businesses. I know you've got, your irons in the fire all over the place. Just I know that you believe in the multiple streams of income, which is a great thing. And if you're out there listening to this and you only have your one stream of income, I'm a firm believer that you need multiple streams of income, and I know Rachel does too. So tell us what's going on with you right now, Rachel, in your businesses.
Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of new things now. So the consistent income that I've had that I just created before I have my Kindle books, which are really helpful. I have some physical products that I put on Amazon. I have affiliate income coming in from different membership sites that I had promoted. And then I have a bunch of information products and like a Kindle formatting software. And so I get just sales trickling in from that. And with this new stuff, it's going to be interesting. Like, I'm just so pumped about just serving with this stuff, with the Better Life stuff, that I know it goes against every piece of business advice that anyone ever tells, but I really don't even have a monetization plan for it just yet. It's just like, I just feel like I just really want to give this to the world. And so I'm just kind of following that, and then we'll see what happens.
Yep, and you're going to be giving it your style because you have this very kindness about you from what I'm hearing when we're talking here. And I think a lot of people will be attracted to that because, they want that type of person. They want to feel like, okay, if I struggle, I can go to Rachel and Rachel will help me.
Yeah, thank you. And we created a Facebook group, which has been awesome. It's basically people have been going in there and we're just doing all these different exercises. And right before this interview, I've been telling people to pick just a word for the day and just like a general intention for the day, because it's just amazing when you have your mind set to look at the world in a certain lens, like something that's more empowering than automatic victim. It's just incredible what can happen. And so someone had just posted about how she's having all kinds of wins, and she actually posted a couple days ago too about how she had something come up from in 2006. It was like crazy traumatic for her or something. And she said her normal go-to reaction would just be like stressed about it, but her word for the day was pleased. And so she said she looked at it and she was just blown away how she thought about it just for like a minute. Like, what would it look like if I was pleased about this? And she said she felt all this stress just dissipate. It was amazing.
That's awesome. And, you had mentioned earlier about your subconscious when you were talking about your to-do list and things like that, right? So it is amazing how, just something like that, writing the word pleased down, in the background, your subconscious is just kind of automatically gearing your day around the word pleased. I mean, how many times, I don't think a lot of people understand the subconscious, and I certainly don't. I'm not an expert by any means, but how many times have you gone to bed wondering a person's name and you wake up in the morning or in the middle of the night going, hey, Bob Smith, and that's your subconscious working, right? And so it's awesome that we have that ability to plant a seed in our head, and all of a sudden, writing the word pleased in her case just kind of help make things come true, right?
Seriously. And actually the other thing, like one of the things I love with the subconscious is just if you have something that you want to make a decision about, is just right before you go to bed, just asking yourself that question and then keeping a notebook and paper next to you for when you first wake up. It's amazing the clarity that you will have.
It's very true. I've done a lot of work on law of attraction and that type of stuff, and they all say about feeding your subconscious before you go to sleep, because you have that 8 hours where it's doing its thing, it's working in the background.
Just say my ex used to play personal development all night.
No.
Yeah.
Hey, don't laugh, because I once took a Spanish speaking course that you put a CD in in your headset and you listen to it while you're sleeping, and unfortunately it skipped all night, so all I can do is stutter in Spanish.
Well, at least you're good at it, Ron.
Yeah.
I always like to ask about sort of future products. I know you've mentioned some already, but is there anything that, when you've got some time freed up from this, that you see yourself doing in the next few years?
Well, so I have the first event that I'm doing. It's going to be November 8th, and then I have big plans for future ones. But this event is basically going to be people who are stressed, and I'm telling you because it makes sense with your question. But basically, so people are going to come, and it's just really for anybody who is just feeling kind of stressed out. And there's free, so well, actually the first event's going to be $100 just for proof of concept, and then after that they're all going to be free. And basically people will come in, and there's going to be free daycare if they have kids. And it's like a reboot day. So it's going to be free haircuts, free for women, manicures and pedicures, free massages, free acupuncture, free talks about stress management, because I feel like so many people don't have the tools to be able to just be able to get a handle on their stress. So I want people to feel really empowered about just learning how to just make their lives easier. And then also, like, between events, there's going to be communities where people can come in and just ask for help and get support and just realize the power of community. And so the first one is only going to be like 200 to 250 people, but my dreams for the next couple of years are just filling up stadiums, and just, I can see very easily getting sponsorships for this kind of stuff so that it really can be free. And I think that would be amazing. And then physical product wise, I'm thinking about doing like a healthy habits kind of line, because there's so many things that I incorporate into my day that I think would be really helpful for other people. So like one example might be like even just cups, or like jugs that have that tell you every time you drink another cup of water. So just like, little indenting on the,
oh, yeah, that's
just
cool.
Like, great job. You did it a cup. Yeah. Great job. 2 cups.
Awesome.
Yeah, just really anything that can help empower people to live their best lives. Be epic.
I can tell you have a creative imagination, and I tell you what, if you ever get into inventing things like that or creating things like that, watch out, TV, because the infomercial world will blow up, I'm sure.
Thank you.
It's now time for the lightning round, but before we do, let's thank our sponsors.
If you are an online merchant, chances are you've heard of Terapeak. Terapeak helps online merchants like you by providing in-depth analytics to help you pull back the curtain on your competitors' behavior, pricing techniques and strategies, supply and demand, category and product trends, and customer purchase patterns. Sound intense? It is. Terapeak is the leader in e-commerce market analysis, dedicated to helping online merchants grow their business and become more profitable. How cool would it be if you could know the new and emerging opportunities? Terapeak delivers market intelligence that is both meaningful and actionable. Terapeak analyzes over 2.4 billion transactions per year. How many of those will be yours next year? After all, if your competitors see the value in Terapeak, shouldn't you? Go to www.soyouwantasellonebay.com/Terapeak to sign up today.
This is where we're going to give you the opportunity to answer a few questions in as great length as you care to or as quickly as you want to, okay?
Okay.
All right. So what was your biggest fear of starting a business?
I had another ex, actually, who was just super risk averse, and so he didn't like it at all. When I was doing eBay even, he hated that I would buy any inventory or do anything that was just not super secure.
That obviously didn't work. They obviously didn't listen.
No, we're not together anymore. And he actually, before this, when I first started, I was working at Walmart and then Target. I started off as a cashier there, and then I was a manager and just worked my way out. But he still works there at Walmart all these years later.
So you hear that, listeners? You can work at Walmart or Target and, work your way up to Rachel's status. She's a best-selling author and all the many other things that she's done. So everyone can do this, if you put your heart to it and your mind to it, right?
Absolutely.
What's one piece of advice you'd give someone just starting a business that they could really benefit from?
A lot of people say that success comes to people who take action. I think it's really success comes to people who take focused action. So figure out whatever it is that you want to create and just go with focus towards that. Don't let any bright, shiny objects take you away, because the reality is there's tons of different paths to make money. So it's not like you have to pick one right thing. They can all lead to the same path, but you just need to stay on that path.
Perfect. Okay, so if you were given the chance to start all over, Rachel, with the knowledge that you have now about your business or businesses, what one thing would you do differently? I
think along the same thing as I would have just taken more focused action. I wouldn't have tried so many things. And also I would have probably built a list quicker.
What's the email list, you mean, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So when you first started your business, how much confidence that you did you actually have that you could really make money from this?
When I was doing eBay, I think I was just a super, super optimist. So I was thinking like, oh, well, if you do this, one of those things where it's like, if only 2% of blah, blah, blah do this, then I'd make trillions of dollars.
Yeah, we know that feeling.
So the eBay stuff was fine, but I didn't think that I was ever going to be able to make it out of retail. Like I really thought it was going to be the rest of my life. And I had a college degree, and I would go to even apply for like secretary jobs, and people only saw retail and they weren't interested. And so once I was actually making like the $5 to $8 a day with the ebook, I was shocked.
Yeah, I don't doubt that you were. So let me ask you this, because you have your hands in many different businesses, and I'm just kind of curious, what kind of research do you do before you start a business to make sure that it'll be profitable? Or do you just kind of, I'm sure you don't just kind of, say, I'm going to give it a shot and see what happens, right?
Yeah, so I think it depends on what it is. So if, for example, for the Kindle books like I was talking about, I like to look and see what's already something that people what are the books that people are already buying, because I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I want to give people what they already want. If it's something that I'm promoting to my email list, for example, I would probably ask them questions beforehand. So I like to survey my list and ask what they're interested in so that I can give them things that they're interested in, so I'm not just guessing. If it was something for eBay, I would look and I would see what kind of things are comparable and how they did in the past and make my decisions from there.
Very good advice there. And finally, what tools do you use? I mean, you're obviously very busy from what we've heard, but so what tools do you use to sort of manage your business every day?
What tools? Let's see. I use Dropbox a lot. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. And are you guys familiar with that, or do you want me to explain it?
You can explain it. I'm familiar with it, but certainly explain it. It's a great tool, actually.
Yeah, it's awesome. So basically, it's like there's a folder on your computer, and you can go and you can upload anything there, and then you can share it with other people. So I actually started using it a lot because I got my computer stolen a couple of years ago, and my backup system didn't work, and so I just lost everything. And so then I was putting everything on Dropbox thinking, well, if I put it all there, then at least I know I can access it from any computer. But now I use it to work with like my podcast editor. I'll just put my podcasts in there. She'll take them. She'll edit them. She'll put the revised version in there. With my assistants, we'll put stuff in there. So, and then also like I'll just put stuff there, and then you can get links to your content and just give that out to people. So Dropbox is awesome. There's a service called My Fancy Hands, which I'm obsessed with. And basically they're amazing. They're so good. There's like a virtual assistant service.
So yeah, Dropbox is also a great way to upload large files that you can't just simply email. So if you have like MP4s or something you want to share with somebody, you can't just Gmail them through to anybody. You use Dropbox, and it's a great repository for large files as well. Great tool.
That's such a good word, repository. I don't think I've ever heard it used in a sentence.
I thought it was something pharmaceutical. It's
paid $22.50 for that, or actually $97. Yeah.
Are you looking at Google while we're doing this interview there, Ron?
That's none of your business, sir.
Yeah. And I imagine you're also using the good old-fashioned pen and paper, yeah?
I love pen and paper. I write down everything.
Yeah, and little sticker notes everywhere.
I don't like clutter. I can't deal with clutter.
Oh. Okay, yeah.
Stay away from my desk.
Funny you say that, because my boyfriend just went to an event, and one of the things that he does that drives me crazy is he takes towels, and like wet towels, when he's done, he'll throw them on the floor. And he just went to one of the speakers there was doing some kind of personal development something, and he came back and he gave me this whole big spiel about how if for some reason like something were to happen with him, I'd really miss that he put the towels on the floor, and he's taking it now.
Nice.
No, not gonna.
Not gonna miss the towels. Well, that's the end of the lightning round, and time for us to say goodbye. We'd like to thank Rachel for taking the time to come join us today and share with us I'm blown away how relaxed, how your energy, I can sort of feel it through the Skype, and also some of the comments you made, and especially the focused action one, because I find that I've heard a lot of people talk about doing the action, but the focused action, where you're not doing lots of action in different areas, multitasking as the Westerners call it, that you just focus yourself to your thing and set that goal. It's been brilliant talking to you today, Rachel.
Thank you so much. It's been great to be here.
Yeah, Rachel, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us today. I know we've learned a lot, and our listeners have gained a lot as well. I'm sure they're writing down all the notes and stuff and the tidbits of information from you. So we appreciate your positive, uplifting spirit and certainly appreciate your inspiration. So we want to thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
We will post all the notes from today's interview on our show notes page, which can be found at www.soyouwannasellonebay.com/show notes/Rachel. But before you go, Rachel, please tell our listeners how they can get in contact with you.
Oh, thank you for asking. So my blog is rachelrofe.com. It's RACHELROF as in flamingo .com. And you could also do Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever.com/RachelRofe.
Oh, wow. Okay. And don't worry, we'll put all those links into our show notes page, so you can just go there and click on those and visit Rachel. Well, thanks again, once again. We wish you continued success, Rachel. And from everyone here at So You Want to Sell on eBay, I'm Ali Young.
And I'm Ron LeBeau.
So you're wondering how you can grow your business, yet your website is currently being hosted by one of those website-in-a-box sites. Or maybe you don't have a website. Well, if you're really serious about growing your business, then maybe it's time to get serious about who is hosting your website. Bluehost is your answer. At Bluehost, you get complete hosting solutions for as little as $4.95 per month. And while that is inexpensive, it certainly is not cheap. You get unlimited domain hosting, unlimited space, unlimited bandwidth, and much more. Bluehost has the top-rated 24/7 support team of real experts ready to offer real solutions and advice. And if that weren't enough, at Bluehost, you will never sign a contract. Go to www.soyouwannasellonebay.com/Bluehost today and take your business to a whole new level.
Well, that's a wrap to another awesome show. Don't forget to subscribe to us on iTunes at soyouwannasellonebay.com/iTunes. Follow us on Twitter at Your eBay Podcast and Facebook at So You Want to Sell on eBay. And we can always be found at www.soyouwannasellonebay.com. eBay.com.